Welcome to Coaching in Thailand. I'm Coach Tom, and I'm here with Coach Terdtoon, who is the president of the ICF Bangkok chapter. I, as well, am on the leadership team of the ICF chapter. Welcome, Coach Terdtoon.
Hello, Coach Tom.
I believe today we're going to be talking about the ICF Core Competencies. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, these are really important. There's actually 11 core competencies, and they were really developed to enable a coach who's learning how to coach, how to understand the core skills and approaches that you need to use to really be an effective coach.
Yes, because to me, these competencies are clearly defined for professional coaches. And I've been using this one on a regular basis, meaning that good coaches should learn about these competencies.
Yes, exactly. And if you actually want to be a certified ICF credentialed coach, you will need to go through a process examination through whichever course you take, and they will be checking to see that you understand, not only understand, but can use the competencies within your coaching practice. So they're very important for the coach to be able to know and understand and understand how to use as well.
These competencies are grouped into four groups.
Mm-hmm.
Being number one, setting the foundation of the coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, co-creating the relationship between the coach and the coachee. Number three is about communicating effectively. And number four is facilitating learning and results. In which group there will be some 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 competencies which we're going to go through together, Coach Tom.
Yes, yeah, we want to give everyone a brief overview of each competency, and then probably in later episodes we'll be talking about each competency in more detail. But this is really to give you an idea of the different competencies that are important for the coach. So, in the first part, section A, setting the foundation, there are two competencies. Competency number one is meeting ethical guidelines and professional standards. And of course, this is a very important one. First of all, a coach kind of takes a code of ethics with them. They need to be professional and confidential, and actually, that's the how they're going to have a foundation of trust with their coachee is by being ethical and also by following professional standards of practice. Taking their coaching profession very seriously and abiding by the standards. Is there anything you would like to add to that?
Yes, I would call this one coaching code of conduct or ethics, and which is different and important because it makes the coach is special to any other coaches because ICF define the standard of conduct very clearly. We can refer to different parts of conducts within the ICF website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. It's definitely you when you agree to be a certified ICF credentialed coach, you are following a definite code of conduct, and you're following ethical guidelines that they have supported. And that's just to make sure that coachees who decide to take on a coach and see that your ICF credential, they really know that you are, going to be the best coach for them in an ethical and confidential way.
Yes, I can pinpoint give an example of one of the items within this meeting ethical guidelines and professional standards. Being a coach, we need to know how to clearly communicate the distinctions between coaching, consulting, psychotherapy, and other support functions or professions. And this is very important because coaching is a new terminology is a new trend, and many people get confused about what is and what is not coaching. But we, however, need to know whether what we going to deliver to our client or our coachee is actually an act of coaching, but not the consulting, counseling, mentoring, or any other type of professions. So this is important for
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And also it means that as a coach, if you recognize that your coachee is in need maybe of a psychotherapist, a counselor, a therapist, something like that, that you are going to refer them to the appropriate professional, that you won't try to treat them with coaching. So that's again being responsible as a coach and understanding what your role is, and that your role is not to be like a therapist or something like that, and that if your coachee does need some kind of help like that, then you're going to refer them to that.
Okay.
Okay. The second one under setting the foundation is establishing the coaching agreement. And this is really about like making sure that your coachee understands what they're getting into when you're having a coaching interaction, and that you really are like completely aware of what the coaching process and the relationship is about.
Yep. For number one and number two, they both are under setting the foundation. So it is very important for any coach to start with this requirement or these professional standards. Following this section is the co-creating the relationship. It is a fun part for me because it's about relationship which we need to use our heart and trust and intimacy. There are two items within this section. One being establishing trust and intimacy with the client
Hmm.
or coachee. The second one, which is also very important, is coaching presence. So I will gonna touch upon the first one first. Um, Establishing trust and intimacy with the coachee is ability to create a safe, supportive environment that produces ongoing mutual respect and trust. We need to get into the heart, the mind, and the soul of the coachee, beginning with ourselves, that we need to show our genuine concern about their welfare and their future. We need to strongly believe in their own potential, and we also need to demonstrate our personal integrity, honesty, and sincerity. And that is a lot to me already, but we do need to actually earn our own trust to the coachee.
Right. You have to really, I mean, in any relationship where you're going to have someone open up to you and trust you that they want to change, you need to have a lot of integrity and honesty. You need to be able to keep your promises with the people that you're working with. And so that's what this is really saying, that, establishing that trust is very important, and gaining that intimacy with the client is what's going to help them to feel comfortable with you and move forward.
One important point about establishing trust and intimacy with the coachee is about uh, us coaches. We need to provide ongoing support and to come up for them to come up with new behaviors and actions. These include how we can involve risk taking and fear of failure. You want to share your experience about this part a little bit, Coach Tom?
Well, I think that you need to allow the coach to,
Coachy?
yeah, or the coachee to be able to trust what you're doing, and that you're there to support them. If they don't feel that they have your support, then they are not going to open up. They need to be able to understand very deeply that that they're allowed to take risks, and whether they succeed or they fail in what they're doing, it's really part of the process and journey, and that you're there to back them up in whatever happens, but that you're also there to be their cheerleader at all times. And if they feel that you're there to support them, then they're going to take those risks, and hopefully they'll grow themselves, and they'll become something better than what they were before.
Also, this is all about stretching the coachee, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Uh, we believe that people still have lots of potential, have not been used. In order for them to unleash their or unlock their own potential, they have to be in the safe and supportive environment. And then what is coaching is all about. To me, I strongly believe that when we coach someone, we should put them in a towards state, meaning they should always be motivated so they can take some risk and get out from their own comfort zone, from their own fear and such. So this is very important. The last part though of these competencies is about asking permission to coach the coachee in sensitive new areas. And this might be not this might not be familiar to some Thai coaches because asking permission is somewhat very formal. We don't use this in our day-to-day conversation, but this is a technique for any professional coach that we need to ask for permission to the coachee when we encounter any sensitive or new areas. The next one is coaching presence, and this is very much interesting for me because I can much relate this competency to Buddhism. Coaching presence is ability to be fully conscious and create spontaneous relationship between the client, the coachee, employing in a style that is open, flexible, and confident. There are a lot of things going into these competencies, but when we first hear the word fully conscious, I I right away think about being mindful, being conscious, and that's very much the Buddhist way.
Yes, I agree. Mindfulness is a big word, but it's very important, and really using mindfulness is a tool for us to make sure that we're really present when we are with our coachee, and that what we can do is that we're listening to them with everything that we have, and we're emphasizing with them, we're there for them 100%, so that we can use all of our listening skills, our intuition. We can listen with our heart, and we can be open to what they're saying, really open to what they're saying, to help them in moving forward in whatever issues that they're working on.
There is a technique called clearing the space, meaning that we should be able to clear our own mind, our own thought, so we can be at present to the coaches. This include into these competencies, and there are some more points that we need to go through when we would like to perform well in terms of coaching presence, including using intuition. ICF Core Competencies using the term assessing our own intuition and trust one's inner knowing. In other words, going with the gut, using your own gut feeling, and also be able to open, not knowing, and takes risk. It's very interesting to hear this word that coaches are to open and not to knowing. because we should not judge anything from the coachee or use our own experience to judge the coachee.
Mm-hmm.
There are many other things where coaching person plays very important role of being a coach before using any other communication skills, which following to the next part of communicating effectively. There are three of them, which I will just gonna read out, and then I'll ask you, Coach Tom, to help explaining each of them. Um, Communicating effectively is very important because all in all, coaching is about dialogues between two person or group. So communication skills has to be very much in place. And this includes active listening, powerful questioning, and direct communication. Could you elaborate a little bit in terms of highlight them to us?
Sure. Well, active listening is really all about focusing absolutely
Absolutely,
completely
completely
on
on
what
what
the
the
client
client.
is saying and on what the client is saying and also what the client is not saying. And we really want to understand the meaning of what is being said in the context of what the client really wants or the coachee really wants. And we want the coachee to really be able to express themselves. So to do that, we need to have like great listening skills to do that. We're actually working for the coachee's agenda, and the coach should not bring their own agenda into the conversation. And in that sense, you need to be listening very deeply to what the coachee is saying at all times to really get an idea of what their goals and their values and their beliefs are, and work with those. And also, it's really important to listen to their tone, to listen to their voice, and to really like also watch their body language. Body, we don't think of body language as listening, but actually you're listening by watching their body and how they react. And that's something that actually should be covered, in any kind of coaching training program is really good listening skills. It's one of the most important things. I mean, they're all important, but being able to listen is probably one of the most difficult things for humans to do because we're always like thinking about what we want to say in reaction to what someone is saying. And it takes a lot of practice to really be able to listen and clearly understand what people are saying and giving powerful, meaningful answers back to people. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and oftentimes we call this active listening deep listening, which
Mm-hmm.
which show very the depth of listening. Uh, to me, active listening is not using your ear to listen to things, but we do more than listening by with from the ears. We use our heart, our mind, even our conversation, our hand to write. So it's comprehensive part of listening, and it is very much so that what you say it is one of the most high level skills of being a coach.
Right. Real active listening is actually listening beyond what the coachee is saying and actually listening to what the coachee is really meaning in what they're saying and what they actually mean maybe something completely different than what they're saying, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So that's a real skill that takes quite a long time to develop, actually. But it's probably the most important skill for me, anyway, that a coach can have.
To me as well. The next one though is powerful questioning, and this is probably very obvious to anyone who want to be a coach, because we know that in order to be a good coach, we should be able to ask right question, powerful questions. And I like the word powerful from ICF because it does really show that it is powerful. ICF says that powerful questioning is ability to ask questions that reveal the information needed for maximum benefit to the coaching relationship and the coachee. And there are several ways that we can use the skill and to be powerful questioning, including ask questions that reflect active listening and an understanding of the coach's perspective. So active listening get involved with asking. We use our ear, then we use our mouth to communicate effectively. Powerful questioning also include asking questions that evoke discovery, insight, commitment, and action. And this is another highlight of coaching. It is all about self-discovery, and it is all about the insight. So when we ask someone, they will think, they will utilize their own thinking brain, and hopefully, if they are in the right environment with the right questions, they could generate some good thinking, which can become an insight. This is a big area, big topic, which we going to talk about it uh, for the next episode about what it is, the insight that we are talking about.
Right.
It is what we call aha moment.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I would, if I could just add to this part. Um, when we are questioning, oftentimes we can, if we're not really thinking about what we're asking, we can start asking questions that give us answers that have a lot of detail, a lot of information, or we can start asking questions that start revealing like the problem that the coachee is having. And so it gets a little bit negative, and questions might start getting like asking about like what's going wrong in the past. And those are all the questions you don't want to ask. What you really want to do is be someone that can ask questions that are leading the coachee forward, leading them towards finding solutions, leading them towards like future goals, and leading them towards, like you said, the insight and the aha moment. And that's much more trickier to do than to ask about problems and things like that. So it's also a very important part of the coaching.
exactly, and it takes time to be an experienced coach to learn all the techniques and be able to practice this one because good coaches would be able to ask good questions. So this is something that it takes time to practice and practice and practice. The next one under communicating effectively is direct communication. And I really like this skills and this competency here. Direct communication is ability to communicate effectively during the coaching session and to use language that has the greatest positive impact on the coachee. Direct communication is about giving and providing and sharing feedback. And this is something for me very useful because when you are a coach, besides you asking someone about uh, their own thinking, their own idea, you should be able to confront what need to be confronted, provide them some area.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I agree completely. Direct communication is like can be a very tricky thing, and again, another competency that takes a lot of time to practice, especially if you haven't had a lot of chance to. It ties all together. You need to be able to listen really carefully, and you need to question very carefully. Now, it's a fine balance. You don't want to be guiding the coachee like towards a solution or an agenda that you want, but your listening skills, your questioning skills have to be very well trained, so that you're taking the conversation to another level above just a regular level. You're taking them to a level, a conversation that has a like powerful chance to reach insight. And you're not going to be able to do that with just ordinary questions or ordinary listening. You yourself have to know really that coachee has the power and potential to do anything. And that when you see your coachee like that, then you're able to lift them up through, how you interact with them towards something that's, great and it's going to be very powerful for them.
There are 2 points about direct communication which I really like. Number one is using language appropriate and respectful to the client. For instance, coaches should not use non-sexist, should use non-sexist, non-racist, non-technical, and non-jargon. These are very uh, important that the coach need to keep in mind, not to use inappropriate and unrespectful language to the coachee, because we're going to put them on an away state and they will not open their heart and their mind. The second one under direct communication is using metaphor or analogy to help to illustrate a point or a paint a verbal pictures. And this is very wonderful about using metaphor. Metaphoric uh, sentences and phrases can be used very well with any coaching session. Especially for Thai people, we have a lot of those proverbs that we can use during the coaching conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Using metaphor is great. Actually asking any kind of questions that are getting your coachee to think about their situation, to think, to elaborate on it, to understand uh, in a deeper way where they're at and where they want to go. That's going to be great. And so any kind of really good positive thinking questions, including metaphor and analogy, is something that can really be a great help to the coachee. But like I've said before, and like I'm sure it takes a lot of practice and it takes patience to learn how to do this. And you really should go through some kind of credentialed course in order to get these techniques down.
All right. Today, what we have done so far is discussing about 7 core competencies, and we have about 4 of them left for the next episode. The the competency that we have covered today are meeting ethical guidelines and professional standards, establishing the coaching agreement, establishing trust and intimacy with the coachee, coaching presence, active listening, powerful questioning, direct communication. What are the next 4 competencies for the next episode? Coach Tom.
Well, yes, we will be finishing up in the next episode with the fourth section, which is all about facilitating learning and results. And that's actually creating awareness is one of them, creating awareness about their situation, designing actions, getting our coachee to be able to design and implement actions. And the 10th competency is planning and goal setting. So actually planning how they're going to put these actions into place and set goals so that they can actually, be successful. And then finally, the 11th competency is managing progress and accountability, because we want to make sure that the coachee doesn't just create goals, but they actually know how to manage their goals and their progress and adjust as they go along and be accountable for their actions. So those are all big topics, and I think they are worthy of one episode on their own. That's all about being aware of what you need to do to succeed and how you're going to do it. So that'll be another great episode.
Okay, and if you want to find out about the details of ICF Core Competencies, you may visit worldwideweb.coachfederation.org for more detail.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So anyway, I guess to sum up, if these first 7 competencies that we went over today, they're all on their own, they're all important, but they're also all kind of woven together, and that's the thing about these competencies that's so great, is that they don't really exist on their own by themselves, but they all kind of rely on one another, and they all make up this really nice like tapestry um, that means to be a coach. And you need to use all of them together, really, as a mixture and a combination, if you really want to be a great coach.
All right. For the next episode, yes, we will discuss the four competencies left, and each of them actually has quite a lot of details because ICF also very much focus on producing results and action for the coaching. So for now, we need to say goodbye to you, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you very much for listening.
All right.